You can tell her, you can tell her anything. She's a real good listener. You can tell her anything.
Yo, what's up? It's your girl, Father Longlegs. You know me, Daddy T. This is You Can Tell Me Anything. Yes, that is my nickname. My guest is already laughing. I'm so excited to have them on the show today because we actually, I guess, we just met right now, but we met on TikTok. I love their TikToks. So funny. You'll have to follow them to see because it's like a mix of all the stuff I like. So if you like me, you'll like it because not only is it like spirituality, mental health, aliens. Also, there's a recent video of twerking, which is like that is my sweet spot. Love, love, love so much. It's Kyglo. What's up?
Hey.
Hi. How are you? Sorry for just like, I got too fangirly there. I did find you on TikTok, so technically, I guess do you have a name for your fans on TikTok?
Oh wow. I never really. I mean, I guess if we're gonna come with one, it could be like spiders. Or
Spiders?
if people are scared.
Oh my god, your fans are spiders? I only because I know you told me. Well, we'll get into it, but I know you told me how you feel about spiders. So this is very interesting that you would call your fans spiders.
No, it's almost like a prolonged therapy where I'm like using
Yeah.
everything as a way to like move past my fear.
Huh. Oh my god. I can't wait to get into it because I have a complicated relationship with spiders. In that I've hated them for a long time, but I've also been alone for a long time. Often see them and try to convince myself that I love them. Still to no avail, but
Hey.
it's hard. I did want to, oh yeah, so I want to shout out the first TikTok I saw of yours. Now I'm like just totally hooked, but the first one that came on my page because I see a lot of spiritual TikToks and I think you're on spiritual witch talk. I am not on purpose on it. I'm accidentally on it. I got on just to try to like be relevant and make comedy. It's so sad when I say that. But then I think because of the stuff that I've been experiencing, which is why I feel like TikTok, the algorithm is part of the singularity. Like it just shows me stuff, even if I'm like, stop it. My brain is too easily malleable. I don't want to be brainwashed. But the one I saw, the one I saw of yours is great because it's sort of in that in between where it's relatable whether or not you're already on this path. So for anyone who's confused about what I'm talking about, don't worry, we're gonna like bring it back to square one. So it was the one of you, it was two candy shop was the sound, which is always fun. I love a throwback. It might have not been the original, it might have been a remix, but you know, like the do 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 girl, I'll take you to the candy shop. You guys know it. And you were saying how I stay calm or focused and keep my energy when people are mad at me or yelling at me. And I mean, you guys have to watch it. I don't want to butcher it, but basically you were saying like you send them love and light and you were like outside and not only were you like very like you just like had a very calm energy that I was like, ooh, and also like very good looking. So I was like, okay. And also, but the words, the words were like, oh, this is so like what I need to hear. But also it didn't seem like you were doing the thing where people say like, love to my haters as a way to like fuck off and piss them off. It really seemed like you meant it. And I really like connected to that. So that's what made me follow you. But did I totally just like butcher the actual TikTok? I feel like
No,
I
you did a
described it
great
in a
job.
chaotic way.
That was actually, the way you described it was so beautiful because you showed the visualization and you talked about the words. But yeah, that is so cool that was their first connection.
Yeah,
Hopefully it helps.
it does. And I imagine, imagine that a lot of people connect to your content that way too. So before we get too into it, I do want to ask for a good confession. It's just a way I like to start, just to start on a positive note. I guess mine was that I found your TikTok, but is there something good you want to confess?
Yeah. Well, I mean, shoot. I guess when I was in college, which I feel so interesting saying that because it feels like it was just yesterday. Um, Parking was always such a pain in the rear, and I just hated being out there for like, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, going around corners and everything. And so I devised this plan to pick up people in my car.
Uh-huh.
And I was, a little, I had my sweatshirt on and everything like that, and I looked pretty, just like, little. I mean, just 5'7", whatever, maybe
Uh-huh.
5'8",
Wait, where
and
did you go to
I would
school? Was
just.
it like a suburban area or city?
It was San Diego State
Oh,
University,
okay,
so
okay.
kind of like
In between.
like city-ish. And I would just wait until they came up the stairs, and because there'd be people like in front of me and behind me, and I'd be like, "Hey, I know this is really weird, but can I take you to your parking spot?" And like some people would kind of like look at me, but my humble brag is that I didn't have one person turn me down,
Wow.
and the conversations we had were so sweet. It's almost like you said with the divine timing. Like I just learned it was almost like it wasn't a coincidence that I was gonna pick them up and that they were gonna ride in my car and we're gonna start talking about life and spirituality and stuff like that. So it was really cool.
Oh, that's so
But yeah,
and
it
it's so
really worked.
smart because it comes from just problem solving. Like you're like, I don't
Yeah.
want to drive around looking for a spot, and it helps everyone. I think people do get, like you said, people sometimes get weirded out as a first reaction, which is,
Mhm.
I think, a safe and good instinct to have. And then that means your
Mhm.
like defenses are working because somebody could take advantage. And I think it's
Right.
smart they have that. And then the fact that you didn't react poorly to their reaction, and then give them a second to like recalibrate and go, oh yeah, this is a great idea. So I think, yeah, I
Mhm.
like to like kind of look at the whole thing now because I used to think so binary, which I don't anymore, but I used to think like,
Mhm.
oh, if I'm always defensive and then I mean, so
Mhm.
now I must be super like open and then you're too vulnerable. So I think the way you
Mm.
described it is like, had you been trying to take advantage of someone, you wouldn't have been so calm if they said no. You would have been like,
Mhm.
what? What do you think I'm going to do? You know what I mean? Like people get that
Yeah,
way, and
yeah.
then that disarms someone because they don't want to be rude, and then that's when they're like, "I
Mm.
guess I'll go with you," even though they're like, "Something's telling me no."
Yeah, that's perfect way. What about you?
What about me? My good
Putting me
confession.
on the spot.
Oh, I mean, I did. I guess today I put on a full face of makeup today.
You look
even though I'm.
beautiful.
Thank you. It's a little. I know we've never met. This isn't how I
Mhm.
spend my Saturday mornings in quarantine. I was feeling really sad last night and this morning, and what something that helps me a lot is to put on makeup. I don't know why. I'm sure deep down there's something problematic about it, but I like the routine. It's meditative and there's like a structure and something to it. I'm sure I also like
Yeah.
to feel pretty. Like it's probably not all great, but for me now, I wanted to put on makeup this morning because I was crying a lot, and I was like, if I first fix my puffy eyes. But second, if I put on makeup I like, I won't want to cry it off. And it kind of worked because then I feel like people have to know, people who listen to this know me, so they know I'm not saying like, if you look hot, you won't be
Mhm.
sad. But for me, it's the meditative routine of putting
Mm.
on something and knowing that I can like be like, let me go through some motions. And then at the end, I'll get to a place I want. And maybe that will encourage me to do that with my life. But for now, let's just feel nice. Is that a good
Hey,
confession?
it sounds like a really I like it. Meditation can be anything that you are currently very focused on. You know, you could meditate when you're be in a meditative process when you're swimming, when you're running, when you're putting on makeup. So yeah, that's a beautiful way to connect with the present moment for sure.
Oh, thank you. You
I
have
love that.
such positive vibes. I like just love it. Like it's like it's so soothing. You're like, that's really beautiful. I'm
Thank
like, oh, thank
you.
you.
You
Uh,
too. You deserve all the positivity in the world.
well, I want to get into, I'm really excited about our confession, but before we get in too far into that, this was inspired by me going to therapy. I didn't really start till I was in my 20s. And so I like to ask just what your like relationship with therapy is. Do you go? Obviously, you're very spiritual. So if not therapy, like what's your sort of not coping, but what's your method of kind of going through the ups and downs of life, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, well, so I used to be very religious, which there's nothing wrong with being religious, it's just another
Mm-hmm.
experience. But for me, I wasn't really getting the help I needed
Mm.
within, some people it works really good. But for me, I was looking for some type of avenue, so I started counseling. And I hit a real low when I was in college that really just was scary, where I got like a suicidal thought. And I've always been a person who's really valued my life. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I got that, I was just very open to whatever my counselor wanted me to do. And coming from a religious background, I was very scared of any type of meditation, any type of breath
Mm-hmm.
work. And he just offered, he's like, Kylie, I know that you don't want to do this. I know, like, but could we just call it breathing? Can we just
Hmm.
breathe after the session? And I was like, I mean, I guess. And it didn't seem like it really did anything, but he's just like, just try it for 7 days. And
Uh-huh.
so I did it. And I had this crazy spiritual awakening where
Ooh.
after the seventh day, and I was also listening to this book on Audible called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, which is
Oh
literally just be
yeah. I've
present.
been recommended that a bunch. I should probably read it, but I have not yet.
hmm It's so good for anxiety because it just drills in your head like be present, be present, be present. And on the seventh day, I had this
Very religious
amazing
number.
moment. What?
It says very religious number. Well, I don't know if you're coming from Christianity, but I guess when I
Mm-hmm.
think of on the seventh day, I think of
Yeah. Oh, that's so
God
true.
creating
Look at you.
the
Yes,
universe.
exactly. I didn't even connect that. Wow. Um, and I had this like moment where it felt like my brain reset or like
Hmm.
something happened where like I was having panic attacks. I was going into the urgent care like
Hmm.
literally every 2 or 3 weeks. And they're just like, we don't know what to do with you. Like, we're
Mm-hmm.
just going to give you anti-anxiety meds. And then I got a suicidal thought, and I was like, all of a sudden, just my brain felt this complete peace.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally wrote in my journal, I was like, I feel like I have a new brain.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
it
I
was
mean,
crazy.
sounds like it happened really fast, which is like very remarkable because I can relate to some parts of that story, but I think for me, it was a much longer process. But I do feel like there was at least a year or so when I kept saying like I feel like my personality is changing, but I couldn't quite
Mm-hmm.
like understand it. It was kind of spread out, but now that I'm on the other side, at least I don't know if I'm fully awakened yet. I definitely feel not like novice in that, but now that I'm on the other side of something, I can see that that was happening. It was just drawn out, and I didn't understand it at the time.
Yes, exactly. It's like this process, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone's process, like you said, is completely different. Like, and I think what really helped was I was so I don't know if you've ever dealt with like panic attacks before, but I
Oh
was
yes,
so
all the time.
determined to never have another
Mm.
panic attack that once I felt that switch in my brain and I realized it was, being present,
Mm-hmm.
focusing on awareness, journaling, meditating, I was like, I will literally meditate as long as possible until I never have another panic attack where I'm out of
Hmm.
control.
Wow.
So I did that. I went from like 10 minutes to 15 minutes to 20 minutes to 25 minutes to 30 minutes. And then like a year later, I'm doing like an hour
Wow.
and I've never had a panic attack since.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations. I mean, it's
Thank
beyond
you.
just like never having it, or because I think the important thing that I hear is also just that you took the control of your own well-being by, like you said, you had a suicidal thought, and you're like, you recognize, like you were aware enough to know, like this isn't how I want to be, but you're also not so in denial that you're like, let me ignore it because it's your body is telling you, hey, I need something, and so you were able to go, okay, let's get help, which I think is really
Mm-hmm.
really incredible. A lot of people have a hard time,
Oh,
including myself. I think just during
yeah.
quarantine was when I first finally realized like it's okay to ask for help, which I tell people all the time, but it's so hard when you think like, well, I don't, as long as I'm alive, like I don't need to ask
Mm-hmm.
or burden anyone. But sometimes you're like, or I could ask someone who I trust would say no if they meant it. That way I don't feel like I'm
Mm-hmm.
burdening them. And yeah, I think that's the key is just knowing that you can help yourself by asking for help.
Yes, I love that. And that's what I love to do too, is like, I'm very similar to you, is like, I feel almost like this weird thing where I don't want to burden people, but at the same time, if you believe in this, like the flow and that
Mm-hmm.
everything, literally, like the universe, everything wants the best for you. That, like, the
Mm-hmm.
people, situations, even if they might seem like the craziest, weirdest, like in the end, there's this love and light that is just
Mm-hmm.
able to surround you and like help you. and maybe not in ways we ever imagined, but I feel like just like asking definitely changes everything, because through that I'm a culmination of so many people who have helped me in so many
Mm-hmm.
books and so many situations. And also I think affirmations and manifestations have been also a huge game changer,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Every morning and night, for I'll just get this, I'll have like a list, and it's probably like 4 pages, and I'll just go off the list, and I'll just be like, um, thank you that I am, infinite. Thank you that I am limitless. Thank you that I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm courageous, that I radiate love and positivity to everyone, and whenever anyone radiates it back, I accept it. And just training your brain, because for some reason we have these like debilitating thoughts, and
Mm-hmm.
we don't, sometimes we know where they come from, certain
Mm-hmm.
situations or memories, but when you say manifestations or affirmations every single day, you're training your brain what is
Yeah.
important.
That's so beautiful. I mean, it literally is. I call it reprogramming, but not in a cultish way. But well, I kind of abandoned it now. But in the beginning of lockdown, when I had a little more time, I was learning coding, and then I realized like not only
Ooh.
can I approach the world that way, but I can code like if I was a robot, which robots are modeled after humans, so like it seems funny to say it
Yeah.
that way. I'm just using shorthand, but I'm not. I know that it's actually true that I can program myself. And now that I'm an adult, like children shouldn't do that because you don't always know what's best for you. But as an
Hmm.
adult, I can be like, oh, I want to, be less insecure, but I can't just be less insecure by saying stop being insecure. I have to figure out the situations that are safe and healthy to put myself in to teach my body the feeling of security, which
Mm.
means finding healthy relationships and allowing
Yes.
the fear to like happen. And it's hard, but I think of it as like I say I'm like mommy, daddy, and baby, and it kind of works. It's so weird to like just
Yes.
be like I am going to be my own family right now and still have relationships,
Hmm.
but in a way where I'm not angry at anyone for not giving me what I need, because I can always be like, all right, well, like
Mm-hmm.
let's go to this next shop owner. Who can do they sell the thing I want? Do they like I'm a family unit looking.
Yes.
I don't need to do it myself. I don't have to make everything myself, but I don't have to be like, I can't believe you wouldn't sell me a Gardettos or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. You bring up, oh, such a, and this is something I was just dwelling on the other day. It's like when, like, a lot of times I feel like we're in friendships or we're in relationships because we feel obligated
Mm,
for whatever reason. Like, oh, I've known this person for like 8 years, or like I've known this person for so many years that they've given me so much. But actually, if someone is taking more energy from us and like not giving us anything in return and like treating us like a vending machine,
mm-hmm.
pretty soon we're gonna run out if they're
Yeah.
not restocking us. And like, you deserve the best relationships. Like, you deserve someone who will give as you give, will
Mm-hmm.
receive as you receive. And like, yeah, it won't be perfect, but I mean, if it's like this,
Mm-hmm.
then realistically, if you're always drained, it's like it doesn't matter if they've known you since you were a baby. Like, your time is so precious. And so I completely resonate with that 100%.
Yeah, and I just want to like kind of highlight one thing you said is they'll receive as they receive because I think a lot of people and this kind of goes back to this idea of like non-binary thinking for me. I think a lot of people when they hear like oh affirmations or positivity, they think I mean there is a section of the internet that's like this where they're like shut out the negative, like cut off the toxic friends, and I know that's not what you're saying, and to me the idea of it's dangerous to just think like oh if they're not giving as much as I give because it's still one-sided, but I like how you include receive because it's true like we
Mm-hmm.
both want to get our needs met and we want to feel needed by others,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be totally like 100 for 100, but if someone's putting up a wall to make you feel codependent and you keep trying to give and they don't receive,
Mm-hmm.
that can just be as equally painful as someone not giving you what you
Mm-hmm.
need.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many different friendships that we learn from, and
Mm-hmm.
like, just our time is so limited. If we, and I feel like we're both very similar, where we just love people and we love interacting, we love having conversations, and we could probably sit here and have so many conversations, but realistically, we have to take care of ourselves and we have
Mm-hmm.
to find things, and so it's like we have to fine tune our time, and we have to
Yeah.
fine tune what we take in and how we sift through that information and all that stuff. So yeah, you said it perfectly. It's just that ability to be able to, it's just bringing awareness, I feel like, in every single aspect of your life. And that's why I also, oh my gosh, I love journaling, because I'll look back at my journal when I was like in 5th grade, and I'll be like,
Yes.
Rebecca smacked my ass and I didn't like that, or like something like that. And it's like just the way I thought. I was like, oh wow, okay, I brought awareness to
Yeah.
Rebecca smacking my ass, and then like I was aware of it, and
Yes,
like,
I
started to
love
change
reading
it.
old diary entries. And in fact, sometimes it takes a long time, like a loop around before I realize that I haven't changed at all. Like sometimes I'll think I changed. I didn't. I was like reading a diary entry from like 2007, and I was like, I'm describing feelings I've had now, but now I have more awareness of how to get out. But it was like, damn, you really took the long route out of this one. Like you just figured out how to like get out of here.
Right.
But in a way, it helps you be able to like feel like you're going back and saving yourself. But speaking of finite time, I do want to get to the confession. So I think we'll get into more of this as we go. But Kyglo, is there anything you'd like to tell me?
Well, I did train a daddy long leg spider to be my pet in the corner of the bathroom, and
Oh my
it
God.
just destroyed me. I mean, not literally destroyed me, but it just ruined, it just let me down.
Your face
I'm
right
still
now,
a
I know
little
people
upset.
can't see, but you're like looking down in shame at your microphone. As if reliving the memory, as if you're there. Be in the moment, Eckhart Tolle, don't forget. You're not in that bathroom anymore. You trained, okay, I want to unpack this for sure. As you know, I don't like spiders, but I also have a complicated relationship with them. But you said you trained a daddy longlegs to be your pet in the corner of your bathroom. So, couple questions. Many questions, but first, what do you mean by pet? Like, and what did you train it to do? Like,
So, as you are, we can relate. I just don't like spiders. And I think the reason why I do, which this could be relatable, I have no idea, is I project a lot of like my hate and just like, oh, they're so ugly. Like I just hate it. And like, even though it's never like hurt me, I just like project hate because
They
I feel
look
like
demonic.
it looks weird.
They do make you feel creepy crawly. How early, I mean, it's not uncommon to be scared of spiders. Was there a moment you remember being scared, or were you always always afraid?
Yeah, I was 8 years old, and there was a banana spider, black and yellow, shaking on a web.
Almost like transparent, clear ones. Oh,
It was disgusting. I turned the corner, it was shaking on a web. I actually hypnotized myself to get rid of that,
Oh my
like to rewrite that memory.
Oh
So
my
like now every time I see it like dancing with like
Aw,
fingers.
that's so cute. I love that.
Like, but yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
those moments stick
I
with
went-
you.
What did I do? Oh yeah, so I was in this bathroom and we'd get really gross ones. Like the daddy long legs weren't that bad because they had like little tiny butts and like huge legs. But the big nasty ones that looked almost like black widows or like wolf spiders would come in a lot.
Oh.
And one day I literally saw this nasty spider, probably like this big, and it ran into the web, and instantly I saw like the whole scenario go down, and I was on the toilet, and I was like, whoa, that's actually kind of nice of it to do that. Like I didn't have to kill it.
It just
Whoa,
went
it's,
into the
like,
web by
wrapping it
itself.
up.
Wait, so does other spiders? Okay, this is a stupid question, but I've never thought it till now because I always assume spiders who make webs don't get caught in webs. But are they only immune to their own web?
I guess so, because this was like a
Wow.
runner one. Like
That's
this one
gotta be
ran.
That's gotta be some sort of metaphor, right? Like you can make the
so
web, but you could also get caught in the web. I don't know.
Oh,
Because the
that's
other spider, like
good.
just because you have the power to catch flies doesn't mean you're immune to another spider's web.
Literally, dude, you gotta write a book.
I do not. It would be 1,000 pages. I talk too much.
I'd read it.
True. Okay, maybe I will. So what? So you watched the spider go in, and it couldn't escape. It wasn't on purpose. It like just got stuck.
It got stuck. It started rolling it right away, like a nice little mozzarella stick, just little one over another.
I love the metaphors you use are very delightful and really do take away the fear. Like a little mozzarella stick is like not how I would tell a horror story. Okay, go on.
I don't even know. Maybe because I literally am It's got
No,
one
no,
right
it's
here.
good. It's definitely making this more for anyone who's scared of spiders at home. Think of mozzarella sticks. Don't do it the other way. Don't think of spiders when you eat mozzarella sticks, but think of mozzarella sticks when you see spiders.
No, we don't want that. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I could have said it better. Dang, Teresa. But yeah, it hit different, and I was like, wow, I almost feel like camaraderie. Like I don't feel like I'm projecting hate anymore. Like something's different. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna kill you, but you are going to guard that corner, and if there's ever a spider, I'm gonna feed it to you, because I know realistically you got like your eyes probably are the size of an atom, and you can't see shit because you're just one butt on an 8-legged thing. And so
Isn't that crazy?
whenever I got a
Because that
spider,
is what is so scary when I see them. As I always think, because when you're a kid, you learn, and maybe we should stop teaching kids the Little Miss Muffet thing. I think it's scarring children. I think it is because we draw, and then for Halloween they put that giant spider out. It's like it's always in our classrooms, like giant hairy spider. Because I remember growing up being like, spiders have 8 legs and 8 eyes, and every time I see a spider, and I used to scream when I was a kid, they stop because it's terrifying to hear a human scream, and they stare, and I project it's staring at me with 8 eyes. But like you said, like spiders are actually decentralized nerves. Like they literally don't have a centralized nervous system, so they actually are probably the perfect thing for someone who wants to connect to the world and be decentralized, because it's actually like
dang.
but I also am scared of them. I don't know, yeah, it's scary to look at, but yeah, I don't know why.
I love that. Honestly, we got to put that in the book, maybe page 400.
I know, because it's like on
that.
paper, don't spiders sound like the coolest? You're like, it's got a juicy booty, got these long legs, 8 of them. It's like, ooh, and it can make you a home, and it catches food in the home. You're like, this sounds great. Where do I sign up? And you're like, I will marry you. And you show up, and you're like, oh my God, no. It's a spider. I don't want to marry you.
Don't come close to me. Literally. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I mean, hey, better than flies. When they suck on you, they spit, suck. So at least they just bite into you one time. You know what I mean?
But spiders don't really bite. Well, I guess they do bite humans, but they're not really after our blood.
Yeah, no. I feel like they're pretty docile most of the time. It depends on the breed. I mean, yeah, but anyway, like I would just chill and everything. And so like,
did you name it?
Sat there with, what?
Did you name it?
I think I named it Becky.
Man, Becky's are scary. Okay, I relate to that.
Becky had a big ass booty, so I don't know. It just went well with the big booty, everything. So, and it was in the corner, and it literally sucked on that spider for probably, I want to say like 3 or 4 weeks.
What? It takes them that long to eat a spider?
And its butt got from like this, and it got nasty ass. Ew! It was disgusting. It got so big. I was like, ew, are you the same spider? Like, ew! And I tried putting another spider, because I was like, okay, here's our agreement. Like, I let you live.
Here's our agreement.
And it didn't even touch it. The spider was literally like walking in the webs, and it was still sucking on the old spider from like 3 weeks ago. I'm not even kidding. I was like, I'm done with you.
Did it eat any like flies?
Destroying both of you.
I feel like maybe that spider wasn't supposed to eat the spider. Like it was like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done this. And then it was like, now I'm going to pay. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I actually do have a friend who loves bugs, and I should ask her this, but I don't know if spiders eat. Are they supposed to eat spiders?
Honestly, I really don't even know.
You have
no
a Hannibal
idea,
Lecter spider in your bathroom.
Yeah, I wonder. But yeah, so anyway, I just destroyed it, and then I kind of felt bad about it. But then, not too long after, I learned about self-hypnosis.
Okay.
And that's what a lot of my TikToks have been.
Wait, how
lately.
long was
I made 2.
Becky there before we go? So just the 3 or 4 weeks, and then you were like, I can't do this anymore?
Yeah, probably about 3 or 4 weeks. I was like, yeah, it's not working out.
How did
like,
you
y'all are
destroy
both
her?
just chilling there.
Were you not scared of taking her down or vacuum? What's your like? Help me! How do you do this?
How did you take Becky down? Well, I destroyed her nice and softly. Oh, I feel so bad now.
Oh no! Don't feel bad. She ate a spider.
I mean, maybe she reincarnated as a bird or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, she'll be fine. She's
But I
decentralized.
just destroyed
They don't feel
it
pain.
with a shoe or something like that.
Gotcha. That's what I used to always be scared of, is especially the really big ones, is like you're too big to be here, but you're too big for me to kill you. Like, I can't do it. Like, I have no power. Like, it's, yeah, I used to just squish them. I don't like to anymore. But the turning point for me was literally at the beginning of quarantine. I feel like quarantine really did a number on me. But I went on a FaceTime date. First date, FaceTime with the guy on Hinge. Very nice, lovely date. We were connecting. Huge ass spider showed up. Like, I was literally... No, he was a spider. No, he wasn't. What if I was like, and he was a spider, and that's the twist. No, honey, get in here. No, it was like on my wall, and I say like it was. I'm not exaggerating. It was like this big, like so big, and I even showed him because I was like, I know this is gonna sound crazy, and we just met, but there was a huge spider. You have to see it, and I don't know what to do. I'm terrified. I'm alone, and I was like, I don't mind continuing the date, but I have to take care of this. Like, and he's like, okay. And he's like, well, okay, I'll stay on with you. So I didn't know what to do. So I trapped it in a cup, but it was like a whole ordeal. And I literally dropped not that I have any facades or mask on date, but usually have some sort of like, let me at least try to be a little less insane. All of that dropped as soon as the spider showed up. I was just like, like, I'm just me now. Like, sorry.
Give me a cup.
Yeah.
Give me a cup, for heaven's sakes.
Sugar, water. But I did end up trapping it, and then after the day, I took it out. But
I would love to see that.
It
like,
was,
baby,
but it was like,
what are you into?
it was like a learning experience. It was a kind of like awakening, not like in the way that you had, where it was so magical. But I would say that was like I passed a level there because. I did really connect to this guy, and we did end up talking a lot more. It just, with quarantine, it was like, we can't meet up. It's not going anywhere. And then we still like have a connection, but I ended up dating someone I already was seeing, like continuing that into being more official. But the spider thing really made me realize like, oh, maybe in a way it helped me because I let my guard down, but not in a way that was manufactured. Like, I don't like when people, there's the pickup artist male toxic way where they like create this element of vulnerability, which is like, no, be yourself, but you can't force it. But it happened that fate stepped in and I was so myself, and then he still wanted to hang out. So that really took away the anxiety and fear of like going on a date. So it's like, well, now you've seen me be a little bit crazy about the spider, and it's not weird to be because everyone has those, but you don't really show that usually when you meet someone. So it took away that fear. So in a way, the fear of the spider took away the fear of, I don't know where I'm going with this, a fear of being rejected. So yeah, in a way I have to thank that spider.
And it's beautiful because he got to see you in that element, like imagine if he was like, oh, no, it's like, oh, thank God he said no, and like just disappear because you want to be yourself, like eventually, just like chill. And I mean, it's like the flirting stage is kind of like, like you flirt and having a good time, messing around, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, is he gonna stay when I fart? Is he gonna stay when I burp?
Well, he also said not to kill it. That really got me too, because I mean, he wasn't like, I think it was his gut instinct. 'Cause I was like, oh my God, there's a spider. I was like, and he's like, and it was going over there, and he was like, I was like, oh, I'll just kill it. And he's like, don't kill it. And he's like, well, I mean, because then he realized he came out, and there's like, oh, well, I don't know you. I don't want to tell you what to do. You're alone. Like, but then he was like, oh, or whatever. And then I was like, oh yeah, I don't have to kill. Like, it was just enough to make me go, oh, that's my instinct, because I've never been like, that's how my parents were. If I was scared, they'd be like, we'll get it. But then him going like, don't kill it. But then also like, oh, but I want you to feel safe. So do what you want. Made me realize, oh, I also want to feel safe. My goal is not to kill the spider, it's to feel safe. Oh, you're telling me there's a way to feel safe without killing it? And then I realized, yes, there is. So we like let it out. But I mean, I ended up getting my sister involved. But during the date, he was trapped. It was trapped under the plate, and we released it after. So yeah, it was like a moment for me to go, oh, just because this thing scares me, I'm not trying to kill it. I just don't want it here. And there is another option.
That is so sweet. Wow, I wish you could have talked to me when I was 20 years old. I wish you came in angel form and you're like, Carly, there's peace. Please let down your walls.
But then in a way you wouldn't have come to these realizations on your own. I think in order to really know something in your body, like I could have told myself this when I was younger and I would have been like, well, fuck that, I'm still going to scream. it's not until you actually are there and experience it that you feel it, where you're like, I am safe. Like I did feel, he made me feel safe because he was, I think, being like, he had his guard down, I had my guard down, and then I realized I can feel safe in the presence of this very scary spider, which means it's kind of a lie to say that this spider is going to kill me, because here I am alive, I had the power, and therefore what am I afraid of? I'm just kind of continuing, not to say I'm totally over my fear, but I am in a way continuing a narrative that's not real if I keep saying this spider is going to kill me, because obviously it hasn't.
Yeah, and I mean, what that shows me is that you already are very, very aware. Like, you're very in tune with your body and your surroundings, and, like, I think you definitely deserve, like, 14 pats on the back because of that. And if you ever want me to hypnotize your fear away, you know, I love hypnotize. I'm hypnotizing someone tomorrow.
Wait, you do hypnosis? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Can you speak on that more? I didn't know that. So how did you just teach yourself, or how did you like start?
I was so annoyed with these constant fears that kept on coming up, and like not knowing how to like deal with it. And like I got to the point where it wasn't like, it was just like annoying. Like even though I didn't identify with it, it would just pop up in my head, and I'm like, why are you popping in my head? Is there a way to like not get you to pop in my head all the time? And so I started realizing, like with self-hypnosis, there's this ability to incorporate visualizations and to help naturally appease your fears. And if you think about it, negatively charged emotions, you don't have to feel negatively charged emotions. You can feel a memory and you can change how you feel about it, and then it no longer has that ability to take away your peace and to take away your happiness.
True, because you're the one in the driver's seat. Like, there's a lot of little voices in your head. I like that movie Inside Out, but I think about, like, there's a lot of drivers, and you don't have to kick them out of the car, because that's like, you want them there for sometimes. But you also can be like, well, we're driving now, so sorry fear, like, get in the back. Tell me, like, everyone put your lunch orders in, and then I will decide where we're eating. Like, I'm looking at what you tell me, but I'm not going to, like, yeah. So it doesn't mean ignoring it, but you don't have to let it drive. My metaphors are much shittier than I feel like. They're probably better.
No, I love your connections. They're beautiful. They're beautiful.
Wait, so how did you learn hypnosis?
To be honest, like I don't even know. Like I love to read, so like I'll just read whatever's on the internet, and I'll read like whatever PDFs I can get a hold of. And then like they're very similar to guided meditations that I do. I would say that the intention is just a little more specific. So like the visualization and the intentions, I do very similar like guided meditations on my TikTok, where we deal with like shadow work, and like you'll experience the fear coming as an entity and like, and then make peace with it. So allow yourself to feel it, allow yourself to feel what it felt like you didn't allow it to feel like. And then you either hug it with love and light, or if it doesn't want to come to you, then you visualize it like going off into the distance and no longer being a part of you.
Can you just define a little bit for listeners who aren't familiar with shadow work? Because I'm vaguely familiar, but I don't even know if I totally have the right definition. What do you mean when you say shadow work?
So pretty much the shadow refers to any parts of yourself that you may have pushed down. So like repressed emotions, projections, hard feelings, trauma. And it's like a safe place to bring it back up and then deal with it in a healthy way, so that it no longer is stored in the body as trauma or projected.
Wow, I love that. I mean, do you know about EMDR? What you're describing is really similar. I mean, these are all, like you said, names are, you know, like the breathing. I'm just thinking of how you're like, I don't want to do meditation. You're like, let's breathe. Like, names are shorthand for communicating, but ultimately the thing itself is there whether you name it or not. And EMDR, it's not exactly the same, but I think it speaks to a lot of what you're talking about with shadow work. And I recently, it's trauma therapy. It's like, I would say, I guess what you're describing would be in the category more holistic, but it's all connected. EMDR is like, you know, like you recognized by licensed clinicians, but at the same time, it's also just the same. So I've done it, and it's part of it. It's going back into the traumatic memories, and then like you saying, like processing it, but they do it in a way where like your eyes move really fast when you're dreaming, and they kind of induce that state. So it's similar to hypnosis, I think. And then you're there, and then you're supposed to like bring like these safeguard characters with you. That it's this whole process where you first create characters that keep you safe, and then you bring them with you, and then you go into the memory and you relive it, but this time with the knowledge and the characters surrounding you. It's really powerful. And I started doing it a year and a half ago, and it's, I mean, now that I think about it, it's probably the reason that I was able to like grow so much more this year. But I guess it must be similar to shadow work, because what you're describing sounds really similar.
No, yeah, that sounds very similar. I mean, that's beautiful. So you go in, you create these characters, and you make it safe. That's super. Yeah, with hypnosis, it's very similar. Like you can go into the memory and like just change how you feel, or if you want to go into a memory and change maybe your reaction or the ending. So I did this one hypnotherapist with someone on like online, and it was like the fear of rejection, and it was really interesting because they do that thing where your eyes start moving.
That's literally with EMDR. Oh wow, it probably is so like cool. Different paths to the same thing. Yeah.
Wow. And like she just said, like your subconscious will bring up the memory of rejection that is most rooted in your mind. And then I thought of this moment when I was like 8 years old on the swing, and someone's like, who would want to marry her? Ew. And like I thought of that memory, and then instead of them running away laughing, I saw myself making peace and like giving this person a hug and being like, hey, it's okay, you know, like everything's good. And so then when you come out of it, it's like you have this peace about you, and you have every right to, because according to quantum physics, there are an infinite amount of probable past and infinite amount of probable futures based off of different choices that you could have taken.
Yeah, true.
So
that's
when
so
you
interesting.
decide another choice, you're just exploring.
Yeah, and I think it's so important to like look at the whole picture, because I think that's what's so cool about shadow work is it's like it's not to erase the memory or like start from the beginning, because you actually did learn from it, but it's to take the lesson and actually learn from it and graduate. Like instead of being like, let me repeat this course again because I didn't like how it ended. It's like you finished it, you didn't like the grade, like, but now you're in 6th grade, so keep going, and at some point you'll get better. Again, my metaphor suck.
No, I love that. That's so beautiful.
Everything's school for me. I loved school when I was a kid. I don't know. It was a place where I felt like I picked up the rules and structures the quickest, and at home, like, I love my family. I've talked about it on the pod before, but it was really unstable, and I think having no way to hold on to like rules, school to me, I always loved, because it's like, well, if you teach me how to do it, I'll study and do it better next time.
Same, literally. Very unstructured, and I like gravitated towards rules. That's so cool.
Yeah. The shadow work thing. Okay, I want to share this one thing from EMDR because I feel like it might be interesting to you and the listeners. But I recently did one about a memory, and I won't get into the memory too much, but how when I came out of it, like my therapist was asking me like, okay, how do you feel? Like, what does it seem like to you? And you kind of you see like a lot of visions. It almost feels like, to me, I've never done DMT, but people talk about it. Like it's like the chemical you have in your brain when you dream. It feels to me like probably what DMT is, but without any high. It's just like you just see a lot of visions. Most of them are connected to a traumatic memory. So it's not fun, but it's kind of cool. But at the end, the way I felt and how I told my therapist was like, I feel like this memory I realize is always going to be there, but it's like a hike you go on that you like. And I love to hike, but I actually hate it when I really am honest. It's weird. I love hiking because I love how I feel when I finish. I'm always like, let's go hiking. I love hiking. As soon as I'm on the hike, I'm always like, I fucking hate hiking. I hate it. And then I'm like, but I also don't want to go back. I'm like, I know I can do it. Whenever I'm done, I love it. But usually how it feels is like, you'll see these milestones like, oh, this part's the hard part, especially if you've done it before. So I started thinking of the traumatic memory as like, oh, when I see this rock, I know this part's about to get hard. And I won't feel good if I get to the top without doing any hiking. So it's like, it's part of the path. I have to do it. It's not no good or bad. It's just there, but it is hard. And once I get through it, I'll get to the top and I'll be at the top and I'll have that good feeling. And I can always choose like, oh, today's not the day. I don't want to like do that today, and I don't have to. So it's not like there is a choice, I guess, but it's not in the way we think. It's not like I'm going to make this path just flat and easy, because then you don't have the good feeling. So that's how I explained it to her, and it really helped me to recategorize like traumatic memories for myself instead of feeling like I was stuck there. I'm like, that's the hard part. Here it comes, and it'll end. Yeah, but it's always there. It doesn't really like go away.
That's beautiful. Yeah, and honestly, like, I feel like there's sometimes where I'm like, oh, I just really wish I could have the ability to erase this, this fear. Like, even though it's just kind of like pops in and pops out, or this idea of a fear that I've had in the past. But like you said, there's like so much to learn from whenever it pops in. Like, you get better and better of being able to choose how you feel about it and like its ability over you. And that's part of the learning process, because if you have like a set of fears that you have overcome, and they might pop in and pop out, but they lose the ability to control you and to take away your peace, then you win in the end.
Yeah, and all fear is you. I mean, there's always going to be outside factors, but the reality is anything, especially imagination wise, like in real life, it's like, well, like pain is maybe someone else causing it, but the anxiety we talk about, like being like, what's going to happen? All of those scenarios, like, I hate to break it to you, but it's your imagination is just too good. Like, you're the one coming up with those scenarios. Like, you don't have to be writing those. You don't have to be writing the scary stories if you don't want to be.
So true.
But yeah, I love that. This is really like, hopefully it's helpful for you, but it's really been really helpful to talk through it like this with you.
Oh yeah. I always learn so much and like grow so much when you just like ping pong back and forth and share memories and share ideas. Like, oh yeah, I love this is beautiful. I just love your spirit too. Like, I love how you're just like, you love making people laugh, and then you also love to like grow and find different ways to like benefit you and other people. So it's just, it's amazing.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. I want to ask a TikTok question, and then I play a game and end. But mostly because I have been getting a lot, and I think you commented on the one I posted about this, but I keep getting these witch talk spirituality TikToks that are like really, a lot of them are less grounded than yours. They really go into like, there's something called the Ascension 5D, and some of them start getting really into territory that feels like almost Scientology like, where it's like half truths, because like what we've been saying today, we're checking in with each other. There's truths to this human body. There's different names for trauma therapy, shadow work, but then there's ones where people will add a totally new reveal. Like, did you know you're actually from this planet and here and this, and your purpose is to like transcend or whatever. And so I guess my question is, not like what's real, what's not, but how do you discern from, because I think people listening may be like, oh, they're doing this cool stuff, I want to be there, and may fall prey to, I don't know if any of these are like malicious, but they do, some of them give me Scientology vibes, culty vibes. So how do you sort of, how should someone who's like a beginner in this navigate looking into it without getting overwhelmed or brainwashed? Because that's something I'm always afraid of, is like a too easy path is a really good way to just get manipulated. Do you know what I'm talking about, by the way? Like, have you, like the Ascension and 5D is the one I see a lot, which I see as shorthand for spirituality, but it's not quite, because there's a whole storyline to how this is the day that we're all going to become aliens, is the narrative I'm seeing on TikTok.
Wow.
Have you seen this?
Yeah. I think I've, I don't know if I know the alien one, but the connection between the two, that's interesting.
I guess, well, first of all, where do you stand on it? There's no right or wrong, but I'm also curious how you go about like not being overwhelmed by all these different teachings, because coming from religion, you obviously have found a way to discern your reality from others, but not everyone has had that experience.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm really glad you answered that, or you asked that, because that's something I've been thinking about lately with people, is that within religion, one of the most not beneficial things that I had to go through was moralizing everything. Moralizing sex, moralizing drugs, moralizing the way you talk to someone, moralizing who you hang out with, like saved versus unsaved, woke versus not woke, all
Very
these
binary.
different,
Once more, it's this like,
yeah,
and people will stand in the middle and go, I don't feel this way and I don't feel this way. It's like, and then you still can't see that means by default there's at least a third. But then you just feel, I need a fit. But then it's like, you exist. So that means others like you exist.
exactly, yes. And so similarly in religion, people can fall prey and they can call it, oh, this open field of believe whatever you want, take whatever resonates with you, and then create this doctrine and then moralize spirituality. And so falling into the same thing as a certain religion that moralizes their doctrine. So there's a narrative where they've taken something that I can understand the quantum physics behind the dimensions, but they start to moralize the dimensions and they start to say, oh, well, I'm in a 5D and you're not. What do people do in religion?
What is 5D for people who've never heard? Because I could try to explain what I think it is, but I'm not sure if you have it right. Like to me, it's like been shown in many ways in like your TikTok resonated because it felt like, okay, you're grounded. And then I get a lot of very, very like, I think like when I say Scientology, I mean like literally like names I've never seen. I'm like, where did it come from though? I've never heard, like, it's just like ancient stories that aren't really rooted in any source that I can find that are like, you're a child of the star. And I'm like, what? Where's this? Can I find this anywhere? So what is 5D and what is, or to you, or would you define it?
Well, it's funny. I actually just did a TikTok on this, which is super cool. But so the dimensions, so in quantum physics, there are a list of dimensions that people perceive. Some people think that there's 10, some scientists believe there's 12. Personally, I'm in the camp that believes there could be 12 dimensions. But it's truly, no one knows for sure how many dimensions are in. And so the first 3 are the XYZ plane, so how we interact and move. And then the 4th dimension is considered time by scientists. And the 5th dimension is in reference to, like, from a scientific point of view, the 5th dimension is just another dimension of awareness that that you can either perceive or not perceive. And then again, within that, people have moralized the dimensions, which is interesting because like you wouldn't, like, how could you moralize the X dimension? It's like things are on an X line, you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So and so I guess what people do is they take perception and they create a dualistic perspective of, oh, well, see, I'm 5D because I love everyone and I'm woke and you're not woke. But that doesn't make any sense
so
because
funny
if
when
you're
you
truly,
say it that way.
you wouldn't create a dichotomy.
Yeah.
If you perceive more than everyone else, if you perceive more and you see more like God, and if God is oneness, if source, we come from a perfect one source, love and unity, you wouldn't create a dichotomy of like, I'm better than you.
Yeah, you wouldn't split if you believe you're all one, you wouldn't split yourself off like that. That's so interesting. Okay. I love that. I'm sure there's so much more I'm going to have to keep watching your TikToks to learn about. So people, please follow Kyglo to get all that info.
Oh, thank you.
But okay, I want to end on I like to end on a little game. This is, I don't know if this is exactly a game, but I think it'll be fun for me and hopefully you. But I think because of the first TikTok I saw, the one where you were like so calm about like, I'm just going to like love and light. But I felt that it was genuine and not in a petty way. I still have problems with that. So this is called Troll Me Once. I got a lot of trolls on TikTok. And as a comedian, I think there is a healthy degree of like, sometimes I don't like to shut out quote unquote haters. I like it because it helps me see the negative space of like, oh, if I don't agree with you and I see where you're coming from value wise doesn't align, then to me, it actually enforces my values. But if you're saying something that, I should listen to, then I can adjust. So I like that stuff, but I am just a weak little bitch who enjoys to clap back in a way that's probably not healthy. So this is a game where I'm going to just read you a few of the trolly comments I've gotten. I'll tell you how I responded. And, this is my shame cross to bear, is that they're probably not the best ways to respond. And then I'm curious how you would respond or how you would send the love and light, because I would love to love my trolls. I don't know if I'm there yet. Like I always feel my ego being like, say something back, say something back. Okay, here's the first one. This person was commenting on a joke I made about white guys that like Asian girls, and I'm not gonna get in the joke, but it's not about white guys. It's about a specific type of interaction. And they said, seems kind of racist, not gonna lie. Don't appreciate you making comments about a race that's not yours, squinty eyes. And this person, yes, they said squinty eyes. And then they also said, all white guys like Asian girls. So I responded, thank you for saying this. Let me buy you a coffee for real. I can tell people I've been mean to you, but I want to stop the cycle of being mean here. That was me recently, so this is me trying, but I still needed to respond. I feel like I don't know. What would you have done?
That's so cute though. Like the way you said it, like let me buy you a coffee and like you wanted to make peace. I think that was beautiful.
Oh, that's so nice. I feel, okay, here's how I feel about me is I still wanted to be like nice, but I couldn't. I still felt like in saying this, there's a bit of ego and like, let me control this narrative by having the upper hand. And I don't know how to get past that.
Well, I mean, personally, I thought that was so cute and like nice of you, like the way you're like, hey, I want to talk about this. Gosh, if that were to happen to me, I mean, I would probably either use that one or I would just be like, hey, sometimes people, when they comment, it's because even if it's a joke, they take it personally, which is like the whole point is to not take a joke personally. And it's like it stems from an insecurity within. And so even though like it's a joke and like people know it's a joke and they don't take it seriously, there's always potentially going to be one person who doesn't understand or just instantly feels their triggers or their insecurity, and it doesn't even become about the joke anymore. And I think like if you feel in a place like to do it, you could be like, hey dude, like I'm sorry if I like offended you in any way, like I was just trying to tell a joke, but I really hope that everything is, I really hope that we're okay and everything, and I'm sending love and light, much love to you, or something like that, just because it's like it's about the insecurity now. It's not even about the joke, because the joke is harmless. You know what I mean? It's like they've been hurt, they've been triggered by something, but it's like people can be triggered by the word spider, and that has nothing to do with
It's the spider. Oh my god, you just connected into my brain. That what I'm seeing, I see it's like the spider is the truth, but when I see it, I see something scary, and they might see something different, but what it is just a spider. Like, exactly. I don't know. Yeah. Wow. I mean, you're like breaking my brain. I love that. I do think that I'm still not quite there. I don't think I could just respond and say, I'm sorry if I offended you earnestly, but I want to get there. So this is part of my learning process, is to see the right model. Okay. This one said, female comedians, are there any? This was on a joke I made about, it was a sex joke, but like, not really. I did talk about sex, but it seems to make a lot of, not everyone, but a lot of men mad when sex is brought up. But it was just a joke about how I wanted to write a thank you card after sex, because I just think it's polite. And they said, female comedians, are there any? I have never heard one funny female comedian ever. They can only get a laugh if they reference sex. My reply was, you should hear my Hedda Gabler joke. There's no sex in it, but someone still gets off. Duh. Off.
Oh, that's great.
But
that's so funny.
Again, it's my ego stepping in, wanting to kind of like say something witty back. So I don't know that this is me. That's who I am. But I feel the ego sometimes gets in the way. But what's the love and light version?
I mean, like if you're always gonna have hecklers, and that's the funny part, is like life in general, like there's always gonna be people, and again it just sounds like he is projecting his insecurities onto you, because there's literally no reason to like do that to someone, you know what I mean, like unless you've been hurt, literally there's no reason. And I love someone told me, I don't know who it was, but it's like people either speak from a place of healed, like they're healed, or they're still hurt. And then I would just like, and even though like I know it can seem kind of like, oh, like I don't want them to, be this or this, but you just reiterate like, hey dude, much love to you. I was just telling a joke, and I'm really sorry if my joke offended you. I appreciate you, and much love to you. Because even though, like, from our perspective, like, they don't deserve your love, it's like that same love is what heals them, what
True.
helps initiate their healing from that insecurity that was brought up.
That's true. They're perpetuating a negative narrative because, oh wow, that's probably like too much to get into. But the short version that you just you're like my brain is rearranging as you say this. But what I realized when you said that is like it's easier to believe the negative narrative is true if you don't know how to get out of it. So he's almost like trying to reinforce it by pushing buttons to make me mad, and then he can be like, "See, women suck," instead of actually realizing he could get what he needs. It's just hard, but he can get it. And then he can get out of that dark place. Wow, I love that. Yes, definitely still not there yet to be able to just say it so earnestly, but here's the last one. This one, I could use your help because I probably won't respond to this, but this one made me laugh because it's so, what I would have responded is probably just to shit on this person, but I didn't want to, and then I didn't, but it was a joke about, so I didn't respond, so I have no response, but I'm curious what you would say. It was a joke about my my brother dying, which is not funny, but he did die. And then what's funny is how my dad got up. Oh, thank you, but it's okay. I mean, I'm a comedian, so I use things from my life. But what was funny to me, and I had to talk about my brother, was that afterwards my dad really loves the number 69 because it's my little brother's biking number, which is very funny to me because he's an old Asian man who I've explained what 69 means, and he still does it, and it makes me laugh. So this, so this was the where did it go? Oh, here we go. Okay, this was the comment. She's just telling the joke. The real credit goes to the dad. Also, R.I.P. his son.
Oh, sounds like he is not having it. Yeah. What did you? So you didn't respond?
I didn't respond.
Honestly?
Oh, there's two like this. The other one, okay, they kind of fall in the same camp. This one says, "It's funny, but your brother dying ruined the joke. Can't make a joke about something sad." How I would have responded, which is why I didn't, is to be like, well, like I didn't like it's sad. Do you want me to just be sad forever? Or the dad one just being like, he literally said R.I.P. his son as if it's like not your brother. I'm like, okay, as if like, but then I was like, this is too much. I'm actually getting into this fight instead of just like, so then I was like, I don't know how to respond without my ego.
Yeah, dang. For that one's an interesting one because it's like they're trying to take away the credit from you in the first one, and this is what I do a lot actually with my comments when people are like, "Oh, you're a false teacher, you're a false prophet, oh, you're leading people astray." It's mainly from like Christians who I'm just like,
it's like why are you on TikTok watching it then if you believe you found all the answers? Like you're out here looking for something, aren't you? Like,
yeah, and I just say, that's it's fine if you think that, like if that's what you want to believe, so be it. But if you're curious to have another perspective or hear something different, like check out my other TikToks, and it just shows that like I literally do not care and I'm not hurt at all because I accept them for where they're at, and I know they're just reflecting what's either healed or what needs to be healed. And I also know that when they're at that point, when they're commenting, they're taking the time to like write up a huge thing. They're like actually invested, and a lot of them like come back and they want me to prove myself. They're curious, even though they're like, "Oh no, I would never, like the blood of Jesus forever."
Oh, never. But I'm just gonna subscribe, like, follow, watch all your lives, and
yes, yeah, they come back and they ask questions, and it reminds me of my own journey of like where I was. And so I realized the best thing I can do is, even when they call me false prophet, really bad names, I know who I am. I know what I'm doing. I know that my mission is to give love and light. And so as long as I give it, it like puts down their barriers and it just does something. So any way of like, showing him that you care and that you accept him and, like, okay, if that's what you want to believe, so be it.
I love that. I might actually use that. I love the way you said, but if you want to believe something different, here's a different perspective, because you're not forcing it. And you're also saying, if you want, you don't have to, but you're also not erasing yourself. You're not shrinking yourself for this person. You're saying like, well, here's how I think if you're curious, but if you're not, then you can ignore it. Like, so I love that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. Well, thank you so much. I feel like I learned a lot. Well, where can people follow you? I mean, want to plug your TikTok? Everyone should definitely follow Kyglo because these TikToks are like, you know, now that I know you actually like do sessions, I'm like, oh, that's even better. But it's just even watching them, I'm like, I've learned a lot.
I'm so glad yeah, I love acting, so I love the ability to like teach and also do like little acting segments. And so it's just really cool being able to like know that I can like help people while I do my passion of acting.
That's awesome. So so want to plug where people can follow you and all your
yeah,
things. And if you have
sure.
any projects or anything coming up, feel free to. Did you raise a hand?
Oh, whoa. What was that?
I was like, yes, I call on you. Yes.
I had it on FN.
Oh, okay. I can say it. I just, usually if, okay. So you can follow Kyglo at Kyglo555. And also, is there anything you want to plug coming up? I think this will probably go up in a few weeks if there's any live, projects or pods or books or anything like that.
Oh, gosh, am I doing anything? Eventually, I'd love to write a book. I feel like that'd be really cool. I do podcasts, guided meditations on my podcast.
What's it called?
It's called Exploring Life. It's on Apple, Google, and pretty much all the meditations that come from this book, I put it in there, and it's trippy. This one, it's like about
It's called
connecting to
so
your higher
Kyglo's holding up
self.
Spiritual Growth by what's the author?
Being Your Higher Self by Sanaya Roman.
Being Your Higher Self. Oh, why did I say? Oh, it says Spiritual Growth up there. Okay, Being Your Higher Self by say that again. I can't see it at all. So
Sanaya Roman.
Sanai Roman. Cool. Yeah, thanks for the rec.
Yeah.
And your Instagram is KylieWebb7. KYLEEWEBB 7. And I'm gonna check out that podcast you guys should check it out for guided meditations. And this has been you can tell me anything. I'm Teresa Lee. You can follow me at Larissa T or follow this podcast at Tell Me Anything Pod on Instagram. And that's it. Goodbye.
Goodbye.